Okay. And any assessments in particular that you regard as working well for leadership development?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And look, there's again, we in the work that we do, we tend to use multiple assessments when working with leaders, and because there is no one assessment that kind of covers everything. Different assessments can provide different layers of psychological insight, and often in the work that we do, the MBTI is a really great place to start. It helps for leaders to learn more about their natural personality preferences and how they tend to play out in terms of how they like to communicate, how they prefer to make decisions, and ultimately their natural leadership style. Because our personality preferences can inform our natural orientation towards leadership. We can all learn to flex, but we all do have a natural approach to leadership based on our personality preferences. Then on top of the MBTI, we might start to look at other assessments that might look at interpersonal style. So the FIRO or the TKI can be helpful here. And then depending upon the nature of the engagement, it might be important to look at areas of emotional intelligence or perhaps to use a 360-degree feedback tool to get some very direct feedback, very direct insights in terms of some of our leadership competencies. But I guess the one point I'd mention about 360s in particular is not to jump in too deep too quickly. Self-awareness is ultimately a muscle to be developed. And I guess sticking with that kind of health analogy, we don't want to load too many weights on the bar and try to lift it. We need to kind of grow and develop our understanding of ourselves. And the more that we do that, perhaps the more open we can be to receiving some more challenging feedback from some more challenging assessments. And again, back on the MBTI, look, we find that working with leaders, even of executive teams of some of the largest multinational organizations, is that they all learn a lot about themselves and in particular a lot about each other through going through an assessment or process that might incorporate the MBTI.
I like the idea of using different assessments. I've heard it in coaching used before, like different lenses. And maybe I'm biased because I do photography. And so the idea to me of like, one of these is a macro lens and one of them where you can just see all the nitty gritty details. One of these is a wide angle lens and you can, see these sort of things with it, but that you can't, one lens won't show you everything. Everything is maybe a wide angle will show you lots of things, but
sure.
they're, humans are complex, and you thinking of these assessments as different lenses that you can see different things with and kind of layer on top of each other. I've liked that analogy.
Yeah, great. No, it's exactly how we experience it with the assessments we use.
Yeah. So on top of that, how do you find the MBTI in particular, because we know that's one of the most popular assessments, personality assessments around, has good scientific validity, good reliability, I know it meets the standards for the American Psychological Association. I assume it probably does for the Australian Psychological Society too.